Welcome back, everybody, to Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath, and our featured matchup for the day brings us to the map Tournament Arena. And spawned in the upper left-hand corner as the Cyan Traveler 59, we have Kimosabe. And then his opponent down in the bottom right as the green Mark of Kane, we have Dimitery. So Dimitery versus Kimosabe here on Tournament Arena. Mark of Kane versus Traveler 59, I honestly can't recall a matchup like this that I've seen in the recent past here. Certainly should be an interesting match all the same, but before we jump into this match, or before we get into the specifics, Game Replays is hosting a 2 versus 2 $500 cash prize tournament coming up on May 31st, 2015. That will be at 12 GMT. Be sure to check that out. I just put up the video link for my live cast of that event on my channel, so you can be sure to head over there and set a reminder for yourself, and that way you'll get an email update when that is coming up, and then also when it goes live. So I definitely recommend doing that. And then also, if you're interested, sign up for the tournament. I mean, there's $500 on the line, and then we've also thrown in a $20 random cash prize that's not really factored into that dollar value amount, which should make it a pretty good amount of fun. Should be interesting to see how many people show up. I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing how everybody participates and makes out in that tournament. We just had the 2 versus 2 warm-up tournament, and we saw some fantastic games in that set of series. And I'm looking forward to getting some even more intense games coming up. But with that said, jumping into this match, these guys have just been ecoing. The notable difference here, Kimosabe keeping his portal around. I mean, he is Traveler 59. It has been spotted. The Awakened squad going to be stumbling its way over here, trying to get the EMP off. Maybe just trying to alert Kimosabe to the fact that he is aware that it's there. But, I mean, I have to imagine that he knows that Dimitery is aware. And it's not like he canceled any structures or anything like that, because that portal was already powered down, so there was no real benefit to EMPing that. But hey, who knows? Maybe he gave it a shot anyways. But these guys are going to be packing up, going for the expand. Kimosabe, it looks like he was pumping something out of that portal, more than likely disintegrators, and it looks like we are up to 4 and 2 on this main field. A Raider Buggy coming out now for Dimitery, pretty smart. Going to be getting that Raider Buggy out, knowing that that portal's out on the field. He wants to get eyes on the disintegrators that are going to inevitably coming out of that portal. Also wants to make sure that he's not getting fast cultists in this game. That would be pretty devastating. Mark of Kane, I guess they wouldn't necessarily be, hugely susceptible to, cultist spam, just due to the fact that they make do with pretty low cost units. So I don't know that cultists would necessarily be ideal in that situation. A couple of disintegrators out just to kill off any harassing units, bikes and buggies and things like that come in, and it looks like he managed to clean up that buggy. So nice job on Kimosabe to clean that up. He does have his stasis chamber down. That fast leg disintegrator upgrade is coming online pretty soon, or rather fast leg upgrade, as he does get the fast legs for disintegrators as well as the cultists, and I think assimilators as well. I don't know if there's any other units that are affected by it, maybe Ravagers. I'm honestly not sure. But all the same, just standard eco here from these guys. I mean, really nothing crazy going on. We do have a couple of Raider Buggies coming out here. We do have a number of disintegrators out on the field. They do have the fast leg upgrade now, and there's a couple of Seeker tanks out as well, going to be joining the battle. So going to be seeing a kind of a mid-game skirmish here, or actually kind of early game, as Dimitery's getting kind of, I guess, encircled here. Or I'm stumbling over my words. It's pretty late at night here, but all the same, it's going to be Raider Buggies versus this composition here of disintegrators as well as Seeker tanks. And Raider Buggy is actually pretty effective against both of those units, so very nice choice of counter units here from Dimitery. Unfortunately, it doesn't give him a lot of killing potential once he finally does clean these units up, as he won't be able to really move out with those and do a huge amount of damage to Kimosabe in return. But Harvester going down, all these Harvesters being pulled off of the line. It looks like they are going to be getting away now, going to be taking quite a bit of damage though, and forcing out a decent number of the Shredder turret drops. One refinery is forced to be sold off. Another Harvester does go down. Finally, an EMP comes out from the Awakened squad that was from the sold off refinery. But the disintegrators are in just such large numbers that they're just starting to overwhelm things. The Raider Buggies have really started to mass up into a pretty critical mass, and they're starting to focus down the Seeker tanks very quickly. Another EMP coming off from that Awakened squad. Going to be locking down that remaining Seeker tank. So that entire attack force has been cleaned up. Kimosabe, in the meantime, has been ecoing behind this. He does have 3 Harvesters on his expansion, has dropped down a Photon Cannon as well as spamming out more Disintegrators. Seeker tanks joining the battle, another portal being dropped on the front lines, so he wants to get out more Disintegrators to stop this, but that is a lot of Raider Buggies, and he just doesn't have the critical mass of Disintegrators to focus these guys down quickly enough. And now the onus is on Dimitery the onus is on Kimosabe to really hold the line here. He is spamming out Seeker tanks, and while they are pretty good, they are pretty susceptible to gun-type damage, so it's going to allow those Raider buggies to be just that much more useful over the course of the game. Would have been interesting to see maybe gunwalkers or something coming out, but there are going to be bikes coming out now for Dimitery, realizing that he needs something to do some harvester harassment and maybe just some straight-up damage to structures, and he will be getting out a couple of bikes just to increase that DPS. But again, these guys, not a whole lot going on, just kind of ecoing at this point. I think they both realize that they've got kind of the same army compositions here, just early tier 1, tier 2 units. And actually, I don't even think we have a tier 2 down yet for Kimosabe. No, it doesn't appear to be the case. He has cleaned up his original main. He does still have the portal up in the north, so he's relying heavily on this Disintegrator and Seeker Tank combo, and we'll have to see if he's able to make this work out. He's going to need to be careful not to get too close to those Awakened squads, otherwise he's going to risk losing a lot of those Seeker Tanks very quickly, or at least losing the opportunity for them to be useful for very long. And we do have just a couple of more Raider buggies getting cleaned up around the map as they're being used as scouting forces. And it looks like Dimitery was trying to force fire the ground to get these guys to kind of build a little bit of a concave. But as he's moving back and forth, he's going to lose that concave over time. So he's just going to have to continue to manually reposition. And Kimosabe is just continuing to jockey for position here. He doesn't want to allow Dimitery any opportunity to breathe in this game. And still no tier 2 by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like Kimosabe is heavily invested in this tier 1 spam. Finally drops his tier 2 and drops that I-Core seed straight away. Wants to get that pumping away. And meanwhile, Dimitery is up to tier 3. So could be seeing some type of a base push here in the near future. It should be interesting to see what the choice is. Looks like whatever it was that was coming out of that War Factory was actually canceled, because I saw it pop open for a second there and then it stopped. War Factory down in the south was sold off. That refinery has been powered down as that entire field has been cleaned up. Dimitery chewing away at his expansion field there. I was trying to say chunking and chewing at the same time. I'm not quite sure why that was, but it's looking like Kimosabe's going to come in here and try to snipe down the Tiberium Spike of Dimitery. And that's actually a pretty wise decision. Want to just eliminate that additional economy from Dimitery. You don't want to allow him to have that uncontested, and it will give him a little bit of an advantage here. But now Dimitery, he's just continuing to turtle this one up. It looks like he's going to be spamming out avatars, and he's going to be going for more than likely supercharged particle beams just to make those shredder turrets a little bit more effective as he's spamming them out now. Going to be playing the long defensive game at this point, and now it's going to be up to Kimosabe to transition into something a little bit more siege-like, maybe into some Devastator warships or even some tripods just to muster through the base defenses there. Hexapod going to be coming out on the field as we do have the Warp Chasm down right now, and that will be pumping out that Hexapod in the near future. And now Harvester is going to be on the cards for Kimosabe. He is Harvester hunting. He's going to manage to pick himself up one Harvester, a second Harvester going to be going down, a third Harvester going to be going down, oh my god, a fourth Harvester, and will a fifth one be going down? 5 Harvesters, 6 Harvesters going to be going down. That's huge eco damage. Actually, no, that 6 Harvester will survive with half HP, but the entire army of Kimosabe is cleaned up in the process. He's going to escape with a few squads of those Disintegrators as well as a number of the Seeker tanks, but he took pretty significant losses in that battle, and now he's going to be on the back foot here to hold the line. And once again, Dimitery trying to force fire to get that concave going, but honestly, these Raider buggies just not that scary in terms of sieging a base. Looks like now we do have the Hexapod out on the field for Kimosabe. That pops out. More than likely going to be getting garrisoned up here with some shock troopers in the very near future. I would not be surprised if that's what's being pumped out right now. Maybe even a Prodigy. We'll have to see. Cultists would not be a bad idea at this point in the game either, as we do have, Avatars out on the field. Snagging those guys away would be pretty nice, but Cultists a little bit risky as there are a huge number of Raider buggies out on the field, so we'll have to see what Kimosabe chooses to go for. Dimitery, he's pretty much sold off his entire southern base. It looks like he actually sold his refinery down there as well. I don't think that was actually killed off. I'm honestly not sure. But in the meantime, we do have that tier 1 army spam out of Kimosabe. Just going to be kind of running around here. He does have the Hexapod out. It does have 2 shock trooper garrisons. A third one going to be jumping in there now. He does have 3 Corruptors healing as well. And now Kimosabe has that base assaulting force here with the Hexapod. He does need to be careful, though. Obviously, the Awakened pretty good at EMPing, though the EMPs do need to be microed properly in order to be chained over time. And Kimosabe, it's looking like he's repositioned his entire army up north. Not quite sure what he's planning on. It looks like he's maybe trying to catch out a force that's coming up to harass this Tiberium Spike. He does actually have the Shard Launcher upgrade as well on his Seeker tanks, and Devastator warships coming out as well. We do have actually the drone ship move coming out from Kimosabe. So he's looking to put on a lot of pressure here in the north. Maybe he realized that there are a number of shredder turrets here between him and his opponent, and he wants to kind of come in where there's not going to be as much defense already placed down, as those supercharged particle beam shredder turrets are very, very potent against this army composition that he's got, minus the hexapod. But the EMPs can deal with that hexapod pretty easily. Drone ship does deploy, and we'll have to see what it's going to be here. It's looking like probably to drop down. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I have literally no idea what the plan is there. We'll have to wait and see. But there is actually, surprisingly enough, a foundry down for Kimosabe. So even if he loses this drone ship, he's not out of the game. And we do have a gravity stabilizer coming down as well, right on the front line. So maybe going to be frontline Devastator warships, and that way they can get the repairs right here on the front lines. And now Dimitery is being assaulted in his base. And what does he have to deal with this? Not a whole lot. He's got a couple of avatars, but honestly, up against the hexapod, they're going to be able to do only negligent amounts of damage. The hexapod will take a lot of damage over time, but the raider buggies now coming in from the north, going to be assaulting into the back lines of this force in the north, and they are going to be catching them kind of out of position here. The hexapod not really in a position to really aid this force, and if there are EMP coils, oh my goodness, the EMP lockdown coming out from Dimitery is going to be real, as he has all of the EMPs from the raider buggies as well as the EMP from the awakened squads, and that hexapod is just melting. Forced to phase that. Kimosabe expending a huge amount of money on phasing that hexapod, and now he is being pressured very, very heavily. Going to be losing his entire tier 1 army there, and now more than likely going to be losing his hexapod. I don't know if he has a prodigy out on the field. It doesn't appear as though there is one. No, there is a prodigy out on the field, so that can teleport the hexapod away as soon as it is unphased, as I don't believe it is legal to teleport a hexapod that is phased at the moment. But that drone platform actually being allowed to survive, surprisingly enough, with just a tiny bit of HP. Not sure if he's planning on giving the XP over to the Redeemer, and that's why it's been left alive. But it's looking like the Redeemer is going to be going in for the kill shot. Great building blocks coming out from Kimosabe just to keep that drone platform alive a little bit longer. Honestly, it could just pack up and run, and it should be able to make its way away. But okay, so incredible amounts of building blocks coming out from Kimosabe. Like, that's just a laughable amount of building blocks, and it's kind of interesting to see, to be honest. Not something you see every day, but the Redeemer actually taking a surprising amount of damage there. In the meantime, the hexapod has managed to get itself back up to pretty much full HP, and now Dimitery, he's still got an army left here. He's still got all of his avatars. I keep wanting to call them tripods. They are still alive, and not taking a huge amount of damage from the base defenses here of Kimosabe. It's looking like Kimosabe's just looking for some stopgap measures here. And the hexapod, where has that gone? It looks like it was teleported back here by the prodigy of Kimosabe. So Kimosabe, it's looking like he's ready to give up on this base. Cultist finally coming out here, now going to be locking down one of the avatars, as well as a temporal wormhole coming down. Or I'm sorry, not temporal wormhole, but temporal, I think that's temporal wormhole. Pretty sure that's what that's called. But all the same, actually, these shard launcher upgraded photon cannons doing quite a bit of damage against the raider buggies, managing to clean up a couple of them, forcing out the EMP. And now, finally, this base is forced to be sold off here by Kimosabe. And Dimitery has managed to completely clean this up. Area mind control going off on the avatars, as well as capturing one of the avatars. So, going to be locking down a large number of them. Kimosabe throwing that prodigy away, though, as it was under the influence of the rage generator from Dimitery, and all of those horses will be going back into the hands of Dimitery. So kind of squandering some opportunities here. Kimosabe throwing that prodigy away. Did not teleport out quickly enough in order to get away from the rage gen of that Redeemer, but hexapod is still out on the field. It is full health, and it more than likely has a little bit of XP here, so it could be ranking up here in the near future. It did kill a number of units and structures, but Dimitery, he's definitely not out of this game. He's looking like the power player right now. Does not have a whole lot in the way of refinement going. Has an entire blue field here that he really needs to be capitalizing on. That's completely untouched, I believe, for the entire course of the game. Though I don't even know if he has any harvesters left. Okay, so he does have a couple of harvesters here down in the south. Looks like they are still alive. Meanwhile, Kimosabe's been diligent about cleaning up his blue field, and as well as rallying harvesters back to clean up his original main. So he's doing a great job of cleaning up the Tiberium around the map. Could actually send a harvester down here and grab the Tiberium left over from the dead Tiberium Spike of Dimitery. Prodigy back out on the field for Kimosabe. It's managed to make its way all the way back up and around to where its old comrade did die. And now it's looking like Kimosabe's going to be trying to come in to get the capture on the MCV. Actually gets the tier 3, sells that off straight away, and another Prodigy will be sacrificed for the cause. Dimitery packing up his MCV, trying to prevent that from going down. Hexapod did come in for a little bit of support here, is going to be forced to fall back, does get EMP'd by the Awakened Squad, but honestly it's not going to be doing anything at all. The damage output from Awakened members is just nothing to be batting an eyelash at. But in the meantime, we do have 3 Cultist squad out on the field. Could potentially be stealing some units away from Dimitery here at this point. And Dimitery actually doing a nice job of kiting away from his own units in this situation. He doesn't want to be taking shots from these rocket squads, and also doesn't necessarily want to be killing them off if he can avoid it. Obviously, rocket squad's not the greatest thing to be grabbing with cultists, but it will be giving Kimosabe a little bit of usefulness out of those cultist squads, seeing that he's having a difficult time trying to track down some avatars. And he's also got a decent number of raider buggies to deal with. He finally does get Dimitery to kill off his own squads, but Rage Den coming off from the Redeemer as it's moving forward. Does have that double engineer garrison going to be coming forward, trying to get some free shots off. And actually, the Devastator warship doing substantial damage to the cultists as they were grouped up there, and now they have been taking quite a bit of damage. Cultists not actually coming forward and looking to grab any units. And actually, the Prodigy's taking a lot of damage. Does go down. 3rd Prodigy in the game going to be going down there for Kimosabe. And now the base push is coming out from Dimitery, so the shoe is on the other foot now. Tripod's coming out, but it's just too little too late, I think, as it's getting a little bit too late in this game for those guys to be showing up. EMP's coming off, locking down pretty much all of the Raider buggies, as well as that Annihilator Tripod. It is getting repairs from the Warp Sphere that's in range. Phase Field goes off, gets all of the Harvesters as well as the Hexapod, but honestly there's just so much DPS here coming out from Dimitery, and just so little return damage potential coming out from Kimosabe. A 4th Prodigy coming out on the field, is not able to really get anything. Gets an area mind control off on the avatars here, but they immediately go back into the control of Dimitery, I believe, in that situation, since the Prodigy did go down. Another Rage Den coming off, and this is looking like it's pretty much lights out here for Kimosabe. It's going to have to be a pretty amazing hold in order to come back from this, as he's now getting base pushed by the tier 1 turret spam from Dimitery. And Kimosabe maybe squandering an opportunity here in this game. Put up a valiant effort, but now he's just being rolled in his base. The Avatar is being allowed to get pretty much free damage, as there's really nothing here to contest them. Hexapod does get EMP'd by a Raider buggy that's gotten into range, so that's going to be locked down for quite a long time. Hexapod goes down. That's really the frontline tank and all of the DPS for Kimosabe. He has dropped 3 portals on the back lines, more than likely going to be spamming out disintegrators, but honestly, it's not going to be doing a whole lot. Not quite sure what he's building. Actually, it's going to be Cultist squad, surprisingly enough. Not quite sure what his plan is with the Cultists, but they're going to be absolutely shredded here by the combination of the Raider buggies as well as the Shredder turrets. And they're going to be living up to their name here as they kill off all of these Cultist squads. It looks like Kimosabe just refusing to give up. And the Foundry does go down. Actually, Kimosabe managing to sell that one off before it goes down. Portals being sold off, and Kimosabe throwing in the towel. Dimitery picking himself up a win. Oh man, fast and furious game here. 18 minutes and 40 seconds. Dimitery coming out on top. Looking very unlikely in the early game as Kimosabe was really dominating the early game engagements. Maybe took a bad one there when he first base pushed into the base of Dimitery with the drone ship. Lost his pretty much the entirety of his army by the flanking Raider buggy army out of Dimitery. So good on him to actually clean all those units up. And honestly, losing a number of prodigies there. I think he lost 4 or 5 in that game. That's a pretty substantial investment, and not being able to really turn things around on people and get the mind controls that you really need, like MCVs. I mean, he did get the tier 3, which was really good, but at that point in the game, I mean, there were already a number of avatars out on the field, and the Redeemer was already out there wreaking havoc, so it was probably okay for Dimitery to lose that, even if he did. Would have delayed the base push and maybe kept Kimosabe in the game a little bit longer, but honestly, it's all speculative. Dimitery coming out with a win in this game, despite looking like he was not going to be doing so, and hats off to him. Obviously, Kimosabe, a very good player, maybe just looking a little bit rusty in this game. Maybe not as much of a fan of this map as I know a lot of the really good players out there aren't a particular fan of Tournament Arena. But with all of that said, that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all next time.